Hi, it's Lucy. Leave a message.
Hey.
Hey.
You okay?
I guess, yeah.
Tried calling you. What happened?
I don't know. I confronted her and everything just came out.
Good. That's good.
Doesn't feel good. She told me she's still dating that fucking guy.
You know how fucked up that is, right?
I don't know. It's all confusing and part of me feels really fucking bad for her.
No. No, you can't do that. You cannot let her win. She does not deserve it.
You weren't there. I think I might have been really mean to her, not just today.
Good. If you were, that's good. She deserves that. If she really cared about you, she wouldn't be dating that guy. Someone does something like that, that is who they are. The fact that she's your mom, it's irrelevant.
Jesus, you're really fucking harsh sometimes. You know that, right? I told Bree I'd go to this party with her.
I'll come with her.
No, it's fine. You have that paper due.
You don't want me to?
Of course I want you to.
Hi everybody, this is Bryson. First off, I just want to tell you that I'm not normally this kind of person. I would never really make a video about like drama or hitting on somebody. But this is one of those rare occasions where I think that awareness is needed. And since no one has really had this experience with this person, um, I think I should be the one to do it. I'm normally a very rational, introspective person. I always think about what I'm doing most of the time. I don't, I don't react with my feelings. So, to begin, I will say I met Natural Mystic Nina, um, probably 3 years ago. On a twin flame, spiritual community, and I saw her because I felt like I had a deep spiritual connection with someone I met. And in the beginning, we were really friendly, nice, and she really felt very genuine to me. And I do think on some level she is, but that will be said later. Um, but in the beginning, we got along very well. On Facebook Messenger, and she talked to me for free and everything, and even when we started doing like I guess you could say twin flame sessions, she knocked down the price for me for $40, so she was very considerate to my budget, I guess. And so past couple years we're doing fine, and here's where I started to get you know a bit different. And I'm not gonna be biased here. I mean, I do have my issues. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna, be dishonest. Um, I have pretty deep, um, mother wounds. Like my mom, for example, she wasn't really in the picture for me that much emotionally. So I guess I kind of was very attaching to women who, were very tender and affectionate. So I felt that kind of connection with Nina. And for a while, it was very nice. And, but when it started to get a bit difficult for me was when she went on vacations. I admit I was very needy and desperate, and I kind of, let's just say I spammed a lot to her, and she needed space for me, and I get that. It was a couple months. And then I feel like the desperation was a bit hard for me because the way she would communicate was always very vague. You never felt like she was fully there with you sometimes. Like, at least to me, that's how she felt to me. Um, so I think that's why I was kind of had this like attachment to her in a way because it was never enough, especially having hour sessions with her. But this is where things start to get like later, probably like in between the second year, um, is where I started to notice little things, with her that I started to think that maybe she's not as like pure, or like perfect as she's saying she is. All our videos, she's always saying how like to ascend into like, you know, um, not be like to raise your frequency and be loving yourself and all this stuff, right? She didn't really communicate it well with someone like me. Like she didn't know how to reach me, and that's the problem. Like she doesn't really like have awareness to other people, like to understand where they're having issues at. Like she's always thinking like from her own point of view most of the time, and I think that's a bad thing, and it makes more sense considering what I'm about to tell you. Um, so like when the second time when I was being needed, she needs space, right? And this is where things got really bad. Well, actually, no, scratch that. Before this happened, every time we would take big breaks, she would come back, and instead of discussing, the problems beforehand, like the issues we had before, she would never talk about it. She would just scan past it. Like it's like she expects me or other people to like meet her on her level all the time. Like she doesn't have any communication skills at all, and that's a huge problem. That is really toxic, and I don't know if other clients have like um, communications issues with her or to only talk about twin flame stuff, but once you get to know her personally, you start to see these cracks, and it really starts to expose everything else. And I'm coming at this discussion in a clear and sensible way. I don't, because I know what she'll do. She'll paint me as a hater, as like someone who is going after her, and all I'm doing is just spreading awareness, and I don't want anyone else to go through the same thing I went through. So, to continue, I this is where when the second time it happened, where I wasn't, you know, I'm not really like I'm not a very verbal person, but I am very communicative in messaging. Um, so like the second time, I was, really need for attention again. And, but this time was different because she stepped away from me for like 3 years completely. No contact or anything. So, so up until like a month ago, I contacted her again, see if we could heal whatever, the connection we had, right? And I was like, oh, she talks to me, say, oh, hey, Bryson, she's really busy right now, but I'll get to you as soon as possible. Literally 6 months later, 6 months after she said that, I literally waited 6 entire months for her to send me a message back. And it got to the point, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send her a message because she's still not answering me. I waited patiently, And then she says, oh, hi, Bryson. Good to see you again. And I'm like, she didn't even remember. She didn't even remember, our previous conversation, And it's just like, like I didn't even really matter to her. Like I wasn't even a priority in any sense, And I mean, she used to reach out to me before, years ago when we first met, but she never did that anymore. And it was really obvious that I didn't matter at all to her anymore. And but and here's where it starts to get really bad too. So after that, like, I decided to, do a session with her, this week on, I think it was 3 days ago, to surprise her on her birthday, right? And she says, oh, Bryson, use this code to get a discount. So I guess she raised the price for me, considering we're kind of on the outs, It was like $80 or something. But by accident, I didn't know that there was 2 different codes, So when I set up a session on her website, well, actually, speaking of her website, I'll say this real quick. I actually did help her on her website, by the way, when she was first starting out her YouTube, and now that's why this also hurts me because I went out of her way to help her, and anyway, so like like I said, there's 2 different. I didn't know there's 2 different codes, right? So I go on her website, do a session with her, and I'm like, oh, I guess in my mind, I'm like, oh, $40. So I maybe it was a force of habit, I do that, but I do that sometimes. But obviously I didn't mean anything by I didn't know there's 2 different codes and stuff. And so like, I'm like, okay, cool. So I set up an appointment pretty much throughout the week, no message from Nina, nothing, right? And then literally on the day of my appointment with her, she sends me an email, and I'll even show you as proof after this video. But so like she sends me a message. She says, "Oh, hey, Bryson." She's just like, "Oh, it looks like you used the wrong code by mistake." And then she tells me, "Oh, I just think it's best we don't do sessions anymore." I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, you lure me in, like that. And then, oh, what, could I make a honest mistake on a code? And apparently I'm not worthy of her anymore. I'm like nothing to her. And she just throws me out like that forever. I'm like, wow. This really, this speaks so much about her personality because since I went through with it with you guys, this shows a pattern of like lack of communication and just like complete narcissism because like there's so many times where it's almost like she relies on the other person to fix themselves like we're supposed to have a priority to her. Like, we're supposed to give everything to her to meet her on her level. Like, Like it's such an honor to be in her presence, you know. And honestly, I'm really starting to understand some people's perspective on New Age community, because it's just like these people are like so self obsessed with their own ascending, you know, and I mean, especially when people offer, money for like their services, like especially when they're not as wise as you think they are too, you know. And it's just like, and it really makes me feel sad too, like I did in my previous kind of meme I made earlier. Um, my best friend Cohen, he um, he warned me about her, you know, and I do really feel ashamed about not listening to him. But I was so caught up in my own mother trauma, my childhood trauma, that I couldn't see it, you know. And now I realized how much, you know, of a God complex Nina has, natural mystic. Um, and it does kind of, mess me up a bit that I have to make this video, but I know who I am as a person. I know I'm not toxic, or, I'm not ill intentioned, but I have to call it out how it is. And, she may not know the side of me, but I am very confrontational and I don't stand for bullshit. And for like 3 years, I was just biting my tongue the whole time, always stepping on being around her is like stepping around eggshells. Like if you broke me, like, when the tiniest mistake, as I said, she'll literally just throw you out like nothing, and just move on, being happy with her own life, you know. And she doesn't deserve to walk away and be like unscathed by everything. I mean, honestly, I do believe she actually thinks that she is a peaceful, loving, genuine person. But she even told me herself, and look, I get it. In the spiritual community, we have this, trying to be better ourselves and not try to, form attachments and try to, you know, be more free. I get it. But a lot of things she does is very dangerous mind thinking, and it lacks a lot of accountability. And every time you'd call someone out on something like this, they would claim that you're not at their level, you're low vibrational, you're toxic, you're inverted. And I know I know she'll probably even say that I know she wouldn't see me as a bad person. She would frame it differently. She would say like, "Oh, you're just not at my frequency," or something like that. Because I know Nina isn't malicious, but she doesn't realize how manipulative she is, though. You know, and this is a queer example, and I don't think she really deserves to, just go about, you know, have, the community needs to have, needs to know about this. And especially when I met Nina in the very beginning of her channel, I helped her a lot. Always was very, um, I was very communicative to everyone, you know. So I forgot how else my train of thought. So yeah, like the problem I have here is that like she uh she likes reframing things, where like she would make it seem like she was the one who was wronged, you know, by the person, and then like she'll reframe it with some spiritual euphemisms to make it seem like you're the one who's the bad one, because you're not like on her alignment, and that's like pretty bad, because I'll go through some examples. So when I first met her, like, she would, oh yeah, I remember. So what she would say to me is, oh, hey Bryson, if you have any issues with me, or like, critiques, to send it her way, like, so she can improve on herself, right? But every time I would do that, she'd always reject it every single time. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, so it goes to show she's not even consistent. She would, like, and this is the problem I have with her, her affirmations content, because, like, I listen to plenty of them. Like, one of them is like, how much she loves herself, how much, she welcomes money and affirmations, and not but the problem with the affirmations was that, like, this is the issue I have with the spiritual community, is they want to ascend so much in loving themselves that they start to believe their own myth, and I think that's what happened with her. Because the fact is that she can't take any, like, critique, and the fact that really shows that ego, in my opinion. Because every time I'd call her out, she was telling me that I'm like, well, I mean, I necessarily didn't confront her because, she didn't allow me to, you know? And I think that's the hardest part here. What I meant to say earlier was I never actually confronted her on her, on her stuff, because she wouldn't give me the opportunity to. Every time we had any hint of conflict, she would always run away for months, for years, like, as I said, before, for years. And then she'd come back and pretend like nothing happened. And that's a really toxic dynamic, and it's just frustrating. And I'm making this video because she will go to her community and talk about people, probably about not just me, but other people. Because when she gets comments on her comment section, she'll reframe it as people hating, as people being toxic, being ego. That's what they do, They reshape things to make the people being antagonistic to being the bad guys. And that's not true, because she's one of those unaware toxic people who doesn't even know what she's doing, and she doesn't deserve to, like, get away with it. It's just I did send her an email about how I felt, and but honestly, that wasn't enough. Like, I need to make a video about it, and me, I never really show my face on webcam. I'm just very self-conscious about myself, to be honest. But yeah, like, I'm pretty much done with her, and I definitely don't want to see her again ever. She really crushed my spirit, and honestly, I don't think I'll ever trust someone with her personality, or like that again. What really cemented, this for me was probably when I was talking with her about, attachments, and she said that like, she can leave someone, like, with no reason, no, like, yeah, pretty much no reason, and she won't think twice or even feel bad about it in any sense. Even if she even she even said, like, if it's right for me, if it's best for me, like, I'm gonna leave that person. Like, she has no remorse or anything. She doesn't care how the other person feels at all. Like, she'll just ghost someone I mean, she even told me herself one time. She told me that she would just leave her kids, not tell them where she's going. Like how is that response? How is that like healthy? That's freaking toxic, you know. And you're gonna sit there in your chair and me paying you, you to tell me that's healthy behavior. Are you serious? And honestly, there's so many things that she would say to me that just don't come off like rational or healthy or anything, and of course you guys always use the whole like spiritual words and stuff to justify it, and it's just ridiculous. It's just like, I mean, honestly, I should have listened to myself back then. When she told me that she just leave someone with no guilt or remorse or regret or anything, and no matter how much they're friends for. I mean, she even said that. Like, she says, oh, she doesn't care how long she's known the person for. She'll just leave them for no reason because she feels it's best for her. Every single time there's something that happens, she always says, oh, it's best for her. What's best for me? That's fucking narcissistic, man. Like, seriously, like, you can't even call her a friend. Like, she may act like, she even may even say that to you, too. She even say, oh, I see you as friends and stuff. I'm like, what's, okay, like, she teaches the whole thing of, like, oh, have no attachments, have no this, right? But what's the point of having no attachments, no conditionalness, if, like, it doesn't really matter anyway? What's the point of friendship if you're not around? Like, it's like you're living your life so self-centeredly that no one else matters. And I'm sorry, but that comes off very immoral to me. I mean, I might as well be evil, like we might as well be dark and accept that than be some fake person who's being all light and stuff. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if someone did this to me, if someone was messed up to me, was immoral, was evil, was dark, right? And they deceived me, they manipulated me, they did all this stuff to me, right? I would rather them show them be malicious and dark and show their true colors, show who they are, than have someone pretending to be like she's all good and pure and dress it up like it's moral. It's fucking insane. And the worst part is, I think she actually believes that she's being moralistic, and good. And I think that's the worst part. She actually thinks that she's being a good person, but she's not. I really believe she's very gaslighting. She's manipulative. She's narcissistic. And honestly, I hope people listen to my message, because this woman is just like, she's very clever though, for sure, and very charismatic. And trust me, I was fooled, and I know a lot of people may not like what I have to say about her, but this is the truth. I'm not lying to you. I'm a small channel. I mean, it's not like much people would watch this anyway, but like, I think people deserve to know the truth, and that's why I'm making this video. And it's just, I mean, I know what you guys think, but it's just, I don't like being, angry like this or anything, but I'm obviously really messed up from this girl, and she doesn't deserve to get away with this at all. And I just hope you guys listen. Anyway, I'll probably talk to you guys later. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, and I'll show you some of the evidence along with my email in the next slide, and then I'll show you a edited video. It's on a little it's a little reference, to my experience and the spiritual experience, to my relationship with this woman. which I think is pretty spot on, So I hope you guys like it, and, just let me know what you think. Okay, I'll see you guys later.
We must stand against them. Destroy them.
They will only keep coming. Sacrifices must be made.
You would abandon me.
Sacrifices must be made.
I called you here for a reason.
You will return him to me. Now.
You are brave. For a man. But it is not your sword that will save him. How much are you willing to sacrifice? To suffer. To suffer.
I have given up everything.
Not everything. Not yet.
You want the ring?
You would give me the ring for the race.
And find myself beside him in your web.
I am Shelob, and I deal only in truth. I wouldn't give it up either.
Wait! Time now! Take your prize.
I'm impressed, stranger. He must mean something to you. Go to your puppet before he dies.
I poured my life force into that ring. Then we must take it back.
The war you came to fight is not here. The ring is lost. So look to Minas Ithil and the Dark Lord's armies that surround it. Look to the Palantir. Sauron will not stop until all of Middle-earth is dominated. I know why you are here.
Return what you have stolen.
Silence, Ringmaker. You forget yourself. Stolen. He begged me to have it. And what of you, Tally?
I am here for Minas Ithil.
You seek to save it, even though it may already be lost.
There must be a way. There is truth in your vision. Grant me another.
To what end? For knowledge. To dominate? Oh, you don't have to tell me. Here is your truth.
I have come to see more.
I know.
If you can see Sauron's fate, tell us his weakness, so we may defeat him.
Your vision is limited. I would love nothing more than to see his torment, to see him beg before me. But my gaze is fixed upon the fate of Middle-earth.
Return what you have stolen from me, and I will bring Sauron to you in chains.
Why would I do that, Ringmaker? You and Sauron are one.
Is this what you seek? Vagaries and riddles? She is not our ally.
Certainly not yours. Come, Talion. See through my eyes, see through my eyes. The Palantir. Have I not given you sight over your enemies? That is what you seek, isn't it? Oh, I will grant you your vision. But how much are you willing to forfeit in the bargain? Oh, your soul. There's hardly any left.
I must know.
Sacrifices must be made.
Why no?
Take the ring. Build your army. Your path will be made clear.
See the future you have wrought. A bright lord instead of a dark one.
You pitiful man. I gave you sight, and yet you still do not see.
You showed me a fate I could not change.
You are wrong. When you and Celebrimbor forged a new ring of power, I saw where your path ended. Locked in battle against Sauron at the top of Barad-dûr. And you won. Sauron was enslaved, and the Bright Lord rose in his place. The armies of Mordor marched forth under his banner, and Middle-earth fell under his heel. That is the future I fought against. The future you prevented. Because you saw Celebrimbor for what he was.
No.
Your war is not yet ended, Talion. Whether a Bright Lord or a Dark Lord rules Barad-dûr, the balance of power must be maintained, or all of Middle-earth will fall.
Minas Morgul.
Yes. From there, Mordor can be held back.
How? The ring is gone.
I asked you once, how much are you willing to sacrifice? eyes, Tally. Open your eyes.